you ready for this?
You are now listening to Mi Gente Podcast, hosted by yours truly.
Hola, mi gente. Welcome once again to Mi Gente Podcast. It has been a minute. Thank you very much for being with us and just being here. But anyways, before we get started, I do want to say a small apology because we've been out for a minute. We've been extremely busy with family, kids, works, careers, concerts, etc. Trying to be parents. And so I guess in general, just life. But anyways, we are back again. Thank you very much for tuning in. We promise that we're going to keep it a little bit tighter here, but just have some patience with us. But anyways, we are here again, and we want to kick it off with the cast. Once again, welcome. Maya is here.
Danny, in case you forgot my face. Hi.
All right, guys, let's get into it. What we got?
All right, I got a pretty interesting topic here because my sisters they think that I'm the favorite in the group. So I have two sisters, an older one and a younger one. And they're always saying how my parents always favor what I have to say. If I ask for something, I get it. And it got me thinking about how when we were growing up and how differently we weren't brought up differently. We just had different sets of rules, right? I don't know if you guys felt that way. I don't know if you guys felt that way because I'm the only male and there was the two females and we're 7 years apart. There was definitely a little bit of a learning curve for my parents as far as how to treat us in our teenage years or even our younger years. But in general, I think the gender had a lot to do with how we were treated. So what do you guys, how was your experience on your side? And I'll go a little bit into mine in a little bit.
Go, Cesar.
Well, for me,
you're the oldest.
Yes.
Thank you
You're
for reminding me. This is how old I am. I used to babysit Danny. Yeah. I used to babysit Danny. And there was a little bit of a difference, bias, no, just kidding. For me, it was like, oh my goodness, does this kid come with instructions? Because I was the first one. And it was a different set of rules because I was the first one, the male. So as soon as I was 5, I would go to the tablas, piscar uva.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't 5 though, but I was, out there like at 3 o'clock in the morning, driving to these huertas of the uvas para piscar. And then, yeah, Joel was born and he never had a taste of that. It was totally different. For me, it was like, wait a minute. I had to do the lawn. I had to do this. I had to do that. And then they come up and then, no, nada. Saca la basura. You're fine.
Wait, Joel never did the lawn?
No, he never did the lawn. Not when we were living in the valley. He was too young, but still, I mean, over here, well, that's what I think. But then again, I left when I was, as soon as I could, like around 16. I'm like, I'm out.
Well, all those child labor laws.
All those, yeah. I'm like, wait a minute. So me fui de huelga, and then I came back, and then, but still, yeah. But so here's a contrast. For example, I was raised like the old school way: respect, saluda donde quiera que vayas, entra aquí, saluda, no seas sangrón, whatever, Y respeta a tus papás siempre, like respect your parents always, never talk back and whatnot. And if you do, just like mumble. But Crystal, oof, esa was,
Crystal's
I don't know,
youngest, right?
She had a different set of cojones, because I remember one time my mom was trying to, I don't know what she was doing, y le decía, ya cállate, Cristal. En Cristal le decía, Cristal, cállate. Y le hacía, and then she would just keep doing that, and she was only like maybe a year old or 2, and she was, and as she grew up, she was the only person that I've heard as the siblings, as kids, to tell my dad to F off.
Wow.
She was, yeah, that's how, like, And I'm like, so anyways,
So what
and she
happened?
got it, of course, but still, I mean, girls are different. Girls, I think
You think Crystal got away with more? Was she giving that liberty, or was it just that she just didn't care?
no, I think Joel got away with more.
Yeah.
And Crystal and I got a little bit more, but Crystal was just on a different level. Me vale,
Rebelde.
like, yeah, rebelde. Like, I was like rebelde, but I used to like hide it, and then Crystal just,
Crystal
what I'm,
just
whatever.
open.
So out
Yeah,
of the three of you, if something harsh and direct needs to be told to your parents, who's going to them between the three of you?
Now it's me.
Now it's you.
Now it's me.
Yeah.
Before, it would probably have to be Joel before. And now it's just it kind of changes, throughout years as you go. You tend to be, having kids changes your whole mindset, everything, like te acuerdas cuando eras, how you were, that's why I was hoping that Crystal would have a girl, like a daughter.
You never know. It's not too
Yeah, I was gonna
late.
say she's not done.
Never know. I'm done. I have one boy and one girl, and trust me, I use the belt more on Kaylee, that's for sure. So
Don't leave bruises.
No, don't lie. I don't leave bruises. I choke. No, it's put a blanket. No, just kidding. Yeah, email me then if you want.
Email me for tips.
Yeah, email me for tips, whatever. But no, that was my upbringing. It was different. And then so I was the one who was left with teaching them. So what I would do is like, okay, everybody has to clean the whole house, and I would go watch TV because.
And then when your parents came, you said, "Yeah, ma, like, oh, I busted my ass."
Oh my goodness!
Cleaning.
I would hear the car from a mile away because they always drove these big cars. Ya vienen. Okay, so I would just make sure everything was good, and then I would be like sudando, like, yeah, ma, I just finished doing the lawn. Can I go play basketball?
So, in your opinion, who is a favorite and why?
Joel's probably the favorite.
And why?
It's a big ass bottle of water.
My mamila over here. Sorry, I was poached. I think because he helps more, he's there, he's quiet, no, pues, no habla, and he barely hears. So he's just, no, just kidding. No, but I mean, there's no favorites, they love us the same, but in just different ways, but he's there more, he's there. And I'm an hour away. Crystal is 5 minutes away. And it's just, yeah. But they love us, they love us, yeah.
Keep telling yourself that.
Yeah, well. Like if I see a difference in birthday gifts and amounts of zeros, then we have a problem. No, just kidding. No, but yeah, that was my difference of siblings. I think there is a I have a different relationship with Kaden than with Kaylee, but Kaden is older, so I mean.
All right, we'll get to your kids in a bit. Yeah. Maya, what about you?
Definitely different. I feel like my parents were stricter with me than Ricky. So I remember like I couldn't go to school dances, and I would hate it when they were at my middle school because back then my dad used to be the field coordinator. So while for soccer, my dad was a member of the soccer league. So while my friends and my peers were at the dance, I was over here painting the soccer fields at the same location.
Painting? Hey, Maya, want to go to the prom?
Talking about a Cinderella story, the one that's over there working all hard and she's all looking and
everybody having fun.
Everyone having fun.
Yeah, and I'm like trying to hide my face, que no me vean. I'm going to the farthest field, para que no me vean ni nada. But even like in high school, también the same thing. I wasn't allowed to go to parties. I feel like it wasn't till my senior year, maybe a little bit junior, where I started being able to go out more. Whereas Ricky definitely was able to do a lot more than I did.
You think it was a gender thing or an age thing? Like, because
Um,
you were the oldest, so
we're only 3 years apart.
yeah, but like, you think that they were like trying to figure it out with you and kind of had a little bit more of an experience with Ricky, or you think it was just the fact that he was a male?
I think it's because he was a male. I think, right? But it had it like he can even tell you, like my parents were so strict, like I was scared to have bad grades. So I was always, I was always a 4.0 student, really. And so my parents had that expectation of me, and that sucked for Ricky because having B's for him was bad. Like my parents just wanted all A's, right? So like he had no choice for college. Like he had to go to college.
You know what also sucked was being compared to Maya, because I can speak about it. My parents were like, Maya anda agarrando puras A's. ¿Y tú
He
qué?
set the standard.
Yeah, I know.
It did suck for him for that part, but he also had his time. Like, you know, I feel like a mí me pegaban más with the fajo, the belt.
Mm-hmm.
But if you tell him, or even if you tell my parents, be like, no te pegamos. I'm like, heck yeah.
That's my first memory.
Yes, but then I would also talk back more than Ricky, but never to the point where I would tell him fuck off.
Yeah, that's a little extreme.
I was still scared of my dad. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
But yeah, I do see the difference for us. Like even when, okay, so my first year in college, I lived at the dorms. That means Ricky was a sophomore.
Yeah.
My dad would bring him over and he would party with us. Him and Alex.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
So there is a difference in gender. I feel like gender has a lot to do with, at least from my parents, it had. But if you ask them, they will say no, that they were equal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think because, you know, being Mexican, you know, obviously our Mexican culture tends to be more machismo, you know, and it's just the way it is. I mean, nobody really criticizes about that, but I think that it could be, yeah, right.
I don't think my dad's, I don't know, like when you say machismo, to me it feels like, oh, women can't do this or that, right? That's not my dad. At least he's never been like, he, you know, we both did the same thing. He would both provide. Si nos compraba una cosa a mí, se la compraba a Ricky. If Ricky wanted something, I would get it too. But as far, I think he was a little more overprotective.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So now, who do you think is the favorite?
It just depends on the case. So my parents know if it's
that's a good one, yeah.
Yes. So if it's something where like they want, like, I will be direct with them, right? So if they know that they're not gonna like my answer, se van con Ricky. Oh,
because Ricky would be like, well, how does that make you feel?
Yes, Ricky will
Right.
counsel them, which is good, because in the end, like my mom would be like, no, see, and she'll figure it out. Where I'm like, te dije, why you do it again?
God.
This one's on you, mom.
Yeah, por tu culpa, you know.
I'm like, pues qué quieres que te diga, ya te dije y lo haces otra vez, or you know, or things like that, where Ricky's more of soft. But then there's also times where they'll rather go to me than him. So it just depends on the case. On
That's
what
good. That's a good answer. Maybe my answer. Yeah, but...
I think you're right.
But I secretly do think I'm the favorite.
Nice. Yeah, I think you are probably. So
sorry, Ricky.
Okay, so with me, my sister is 14 years older than me. And then my brother is 10 years older than me. So
that's a big gap.
Huge gap. So I was like 3 when my sister moved out. And then I was around 7 when my brother moved out. So it was almost like I was being raised by myself. However, my brother's a favorite. And my
Straight
mom,
up.
yes, yeah, oh, everybody knows that.
Really?
Everybody. And it's like a Danny and sisters situation because
In the middle and the only boy.
yeah, the middle and the only boy. And then with my sister, I feel like they would let her do a lot of things. And then when it came to my brother, it was like, oh, my brother can do whatever he wants. But then when it came to me, they were like, no way, you cannot do this. Like, you cannot shave your legs until this time. You cannot date until you're 18. You can't have sleepovers. Like, I was not allowed to have a sleepover at somebody else's house until I was 18, but they can have sleepovers at my house. But I feel like that was not the case with my brother, right? So even to this day, I'll be like, Mom, have you spoken to Raymond? Well, no, no me ha llamado. He must be really busy. Y el otro día dice, ay, yo creo que se le rompió el teléfono. No, ma, no se le rompió el teléfono. He's just not calling you. Like, and it's the same thing with him. It's like they cover so much for him. Like his mom be like, ay, es que Dani quiere chile verde. And then his sisters can be like, Ma, when are you doing chile verde? I know, like that's it's the meat is expensive, and but then Danny's all like, Ma, what are you? Ay, mijo, este fin de semana te hago
That's
chile
a
verde.
lie.
That
That's
is
a lie.
not.
I can see that. I
That
can
is
see that.
not a
Yeah.
lie.
Okay, I will
Yeah.
say my mom, she will go out of her way to cook something for me, but I have not heard her one time say like, "Oh, I'm not gonna make that for you," if it's coming from one of her kids. Not one time has she said it from
but
Erica or Tavane.
But they'll wait like a whole month.
Will she do it faster for me? Yes, of course.
Yes.
Well, that's the same thing.
But she will not deny.
But remember, there's girl talk. So Soti understands it the way she's actually meaning it, because guys, we only understand like what they're saying, but there's like girl talk is different. I mean, sorry, I'm going on a tangent here, but girl talk is different. Like girls, they'll tell you something, and for us, we're like, oh yeah, whatever. And like, did you know how? You know what I mean? So it
girls are very observant of like the tone and
right.
everything. Oh, she said, guys can be like, oh yeah, she said it like this, and like, no, pero es que lo dijo así, mira.
And then she blinked her eyes twice.
They look into it. They read into it a lot more than they should sometimes.
They should, right? It's like,
yeah,
whatever. But anyways, sorry, go ahead, Salty.
Yeah.
No. So anyways, yeah. So that's how it is. That's how it is with my siblings. My brother gets everything. My mom would stop anything. And then like I'm the one that calls my mom like every 2 days. Like, Mom, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. My brother calls her like once a month. Ay, pero es que se le rompió el teléfono. So, ay, he's so busy.
Growing up, though, you're the youngest one. Was it any different for you as far as being more lax on rules because you were the third one, or was she as protective for you?
She was overly protected with me, and then I think I was the one that rebelled. Is that a word? Rebelled. Yeah. The most. Because I went and like got a tattoo when I was 14, and I was the one that talked back all the time. But
that's the young syndrome. That last child young syndrome, right?
Yes, I guess so. Yeah. But even to this day, it's like my sister would call, tienes que hablar con tu madre because esto está pasando, and you need to be the one talking to her. And I'm like, oh, okay. So because is it because you're the youngest? You have to tell your mom. I just don't give.
She just doesn't care.
No.
Oh.
I just don't give through.
Yeah, she's just very straight up.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Danny?
So growing up, I always I try to look back to see like what the differences were, and my siblings were all 7 years apart. I'm in the middle, the only boy. I will say my parents were very strict. My older sister. I think it was one of those things where it's the first child. They're very protective. It's female, the whole shebang. She kind of got it. They're trying to figure their way out. She got all of it. And when I came around, I think my dad especially, he did anything in his power to try to make me be with him a lot. So I did spend a lot of time with him. I was primarily with him, most of the time. I would remember being with him a lot, and I didn't see that a lot from my sisters. And I don't know if it was a gender thing or not, but it could have very well be like, I would hang out with him at a ranch. It was all guys, obviously, so there was no girls there or whatever. And so I did see that a lot. I also saw that I was also more, my dad wanted me to be more involved with certain sports a lot. But I also never really gave him a reason to pull back, right? Because I always had good grades. So I was always being compared to Maya. So I always had good grades. I always had, and then I was always active. And I will say, when I was outside of school, outside of the home, I was very extrovert. I would hang out with people and whatnot. But when I was inside the home, like when I was at my house, I would just be in my room. I would be in my room playing video games. I really didn't really like to hang out with a lot of people or with my family, my sisters. I would mess around with my sisters every now and then. But for the most part, I was inside. When my little sister rolled around and she came out, I mean, she I don't know. She was just it was a different situation. My parents they would baby her a lot because she was a baby, and so they babied her a lot. And I think that kind of just grew and grew and grew. And she kind of got used to that maybe a little bit. I think that I think both of them were more favorites than me, because I feel like when growing up, the older one, they protected her a lot. They were very strict with her, and the younger one they did too. With me, it was just like more like, hey, you do whatever you want kind of thing. So in my mind, that's what it was. But I have the trump card. Both of them got quinceañeras and I didn't. So
well, what do you want a quinceañera too then?
But no one spent $15,000 or $10,000 or $5,000 on me for a party, right?
That's true,
right? Yeah. No one did that for me. So
but let me just say something. I have never heard, even like growing up, like Danny has always been very respectful to his parents. Like I never heard like, oh, que Danny se portó mal o que le gritó a su mamá or whatever. It was always like Danny was so good.
Oh yeah, that's what Sophie said.
Yes.
I never gave him a reason. The only time that I gave them a reason to not like that I behaved in a bad way, I feel, was when I was like 16 and 17 years old. And it was a lot because I started going out more and doing a lot of other stuff. And that's when I started partying a lot more, when I was in high school and all that. And at that point, it was me and my dad bumping heads a lot. So at the age of 18, I moved out. But it wasn't, I never gave him a reason. I was always busy doing something. I always had my hands full. And to be fair, I've never heard that from my other sisters either. Like my older sister, I think she had her time where she was probably a little bit more rebellious, but I've never heard my little sister speak up to my parents like that either. And like now I'll tell my parents straight up, and my parents are going through something, they need someone to tell them something. My sister will probably call me and say, hey, they won't listen to us. You got to tell them. And so I will.
You say that your parents are not that they're afraid of you, because I don't think they are, but they rather not hear it from you.
Probably. I also don't speak to them as much as my little sister, my older sister. Like they're always talking and this and that. So when they hear from me, it's either they don't want to hear from me, or it's either like, hey, we're getting together or something like that. But if it's something serious, they probably don't want to hear it from me.
Okay, so this goes into a similar topic. So we had this conversation a few months ago, right? Like we have a 6-year-old about to be 7, and then we have a 9-month-old, almost 9-month-old. So this is the thing. And I guess Cesar could be our person of contact in this. Because I'm when are we, because you have a girl and a boy already. So okay. Because you're old, is that what you said? Because I'm old.
Maya, No, okay, go ahead.
So what age are we going to allow them to date, right? So then I said, with Arya, like 16, right? 16, 17. And then he's like, well, how about with Nicholas? And I'm like, 16 or 17, right? And he's all like, we were like, wait, should there be, like, we got stuck because it's like, why, wait. Why do I, like, let's say he says, well, how about Nicholas at 15? Well, why? Why? So I'm all like, no, we have to keep it equal. That is totally unfair. So if I am allowing her to date at 16 or 17, I'm going to allow him to date at 16 or 17. You know what I mean? So that brings this question. So what do you think, Cesar? What is your opinion? Since you especially, like, you have both.
Yeah, I agree. It should be the same. Unfortunately, it is a double standard though. Like for
Yes.
example, it's I don't know if it's subconsciously or consciously, but boys tend to have girlfriends whatever now probably at 11, 12 years old. I mean, you guys probably know this better than I do. And for girls, daddy's little girls should have a boyfriend probably when they're 20,
40.
but 40, right?
Yeah.
But then, so I asked Claudia. It's interesting because we had this kind of conversation too. Claudia was like, we were watching a novela, and shout out to Pasión de Gavilanes. Anyways, Telemundo. Anyways, and there was a scene where the mom was like had this como like sense that he was dating an older girl, something like that, and I'm like, can you imagine when Kaden is about that age? What are you gonna do? Claudia's like, oh, she's not coming to the house. First of all, he's not getting a girlfriend. So then you got that side of it where mommy doesn't want any girls around Kaden, but I think that it should be the same. Girls, and we shouldn't promote guys having more than one girlfriend. That's another issue.
So
because we can't tell girls, oh yeah, it's okay for you to have 3 boyfriends.
Right. So I'm very conscious of that. More so now that I have a boy, because I almost caught myself the other day saying that, right? It's like, oh yeah, he's gonna have a bunch of girlfriends, and I stopped myself because I was like, I wouldn't say that about Arya, right?
No, so, can you imagine?
Right. So that, like, now this is kind of why it's like, you mentioned the whole machismo thing. It's like, what are we doing to kind of put an end to that? And I think that has a lot to do with it because, before you would grow up and you hear people like, oh, mi hijo tiene como 5 novias and this and that. But then my daughter, like, oh no, she's perfect. She's in her room. She doesn't come out,
no tiene ninguno.
Right. And so you have to kind of play both sides, but it's just interesting to know, like, I don't know at like what age, because if you stop them, they're gonna lean into it more, right? And then they're gonna start holding things from you, and then they're not gonna have that trust to come out and say it. So what would I do if at 10 years old Arya comes out and says, hey,
I would die.
I have a boyfriend.
I would die. First of all, another
thing
that we spoke about is a level of maturity. Right? Because if at 14 or 15, Arya or Nicholas is extremely mature, then you know what I mean? But then how do we determine that? Let's say with Arya, she is totally mature at the age of 15, and we say, or 14 or 15, and we say, you know what? Okay, you have good grades, you're super mature. Let's allow you to, but then Nicholas comes and he's like a freaking rebel kid and all crazy. You know what I mean? And then, by the way, I do tell Nicholas that I am the most beautiful woman that he's ever going to see. And that he's going to be with mommy forever. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Tells him already that no girl's good enough for him.
I tell him about like nobody's going to ever be like mommy.
Go ahead, Maya.
So I have a couple comments on this because I work for a middle school that is 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. So we have kids from 11 to 13 years old. And some 6th graders are dating 8th graders.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
And so it is what it is. It's like that right now. Right. So I have students telling me, well, my mom told me I couldn't get a phone till I was in 8th grade. And my sister, who's in 6th grade, just has the new iPhone, 13 or whatever, whatever new phone, right? And so I do agree with what Cesar said. It should be equal, right? But I also think it's like one thing to say it should and one thing to actually do it. So for me, I will try it doesn't matter if I have two girls or two boys, or a boy or girl or whatever gender it is. I'm going to try to be equal, but then I want to make sure that I'm holding to that, right? Because it's easier to say,
to give in.
yeah, it's easier to say, oh, when you're 15 or when you're 13 or whatever, and then al otro, no, well, it's because they need it now because there's no one to pick them up after school or whatever.
Right.
So I do see that a lot at the middle school. And then as far as the dating, right? Well, the boys are having girlfriends, and who's a girl? Well, there's someone's daughter, someone that said that their child would not have a boyfriend until they're in high school. So it's also like, why? So I talked to the little girls, like, why do you have a boyfriend right now? Oh, it's just for fun. I'm not gonna marry him.
Oh,
okay, well then why are you wasting your time? I don't waste my time. I get free lunch and I get
That's how it starts.
Wow.
Then you get free drinks.
all this stuff. Yes, and although at the middle school level, I'm seeing that they are taking it as more fun rather than serious, right? It's interesting to see what they say. Like, oh, and I was going to also ask, well, what about the maturity levels, right? Because they're at 8th grade, I do have some girls that are like on top of it.
Super mature. Really,
yeah. I don't think I have any boys at that level yet.
Well, they are. How many years? 5 years behind women? 4 years?
Yeah, I don't think boys mature until they get older.
Yeah,
I'm still maturing, so
I mean, at 8th grade, I was still playing with like Hot Wheels, so yeah.
We don't even want to know what we do in the evenings, right, Danny? Because
yeah. I'm still doing what I did in 8th grade. Is now. So
yeah.
No, but you're right. The maturity level, it has a lot to do with it, and I also think to a certain extent, if they are more mature, they're most likely not to fall into that situation where they're going to have like boy and girl issues. I think it's okay for them to have, especially like in high school, for them to have like a high school sweetheart or whatever. It just, how do I put it? It can't be. It has to be very, very monitored, is what I should say.
How about we change instead of putting an age, you just say, well, it depends on your maturity.
Yeah, it depends on the maturity. It depends on how much I can trust you. It depends on how much you can be open with me. It depends on, there's going to be no closed doors policy, obviously, no sleeping over policy. There's certain things like having people like sleep over and saying, oh, well, they're going to do it anyways. Have them just do it at my house. Like, whether that's drinking or anything else, like I don't know if that's something that I'm okay with. Like that just opens a whole can of worms.
Yeah, and I think no matter what we do, if even in our eyes we're saying, oh, we are being fair, they're not going to say that.
They're not going to.
They're not going to say that. They're not. Right? No, there's no ways. Yeah.
Then you'll have your kids or all of our kids doing a podcast 20 years from now saying the same thing. Who's your favorite, or who's your parents' favorite?
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure my parents would not have stopped my sisters from playing sports, from doing a whole bunch of other stuff, like maybe they're going out, because they were strict when it came to my older sister with that. But I'm pretty sure they were trying to be as fair as they thought was possible, especially for how they were brought up.
Yeah, and you know what? I think also there's this subconsciously thing, because we as a family, or maybe, and I think I bring it back to our culture because that's all I know. We tend to like how you caught yourself, Danny, where you're like, oh, sí, mi niño va a tener muchas novias, or whatever. But it is, we do have to be careful, with how we portray these kind of things, because this whole thing, like for fun, it is like this, like what you're saying, Kaylee, she's only 7, and we're already, who likes you, Kaylee? Who do you think is cute? De nosotros mismos sale these kind of jokes, because we tend to find it humorous, And then ya cuando pensamos ya nos van a dar, you know, so like as this conversation is going, it's just racing, is processing through my mind, like, oh my goodness, what am I doing that, you know, to instigate this, you know? And the next thing you know, well, daddy, you were asking these questions, well, you know, and I'm like, ooh. So we definitely have to be careful. That's, I guess, my point.
I mean, even making fun of them, you know, when they do have like
Yes.
a little boy or a girl that they like, you know, making fun of that situation, like, I know I got made fun of, or like, you know, I didn't have a girlfriend until I was like 15 years old because of the same reason. Like, oh, what would my family think if I had one? Like, I would just get ridiculed, like getting made fun of. Like, but it's such a normal, like, I mean, someone who's 12 years old, you can have a crush with someone when you're 7 years old. You know what I mean? Like, you're in school, you're in first grade. I still remember my first crush when I was in kindergarten, you know?
I
was just gonna say, can I share my kindergarten story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll share mine.
Yeah.
Danny, you probably remember this too, because I don't remember. Tomás se llamaba the kid.
Yeah. Well, we
Tomás.
had the same.
Mr. Train.
Yeah.
And so I remember in kindergarten, Tomás brought me like a frame, and it had like a flower and stuff. So I put it in my cubby, but I didn't want to take it home because I was afraid of my dad. Mind you, I didn't like this boy, but I was like, no. So my tia Amelia would take care of us, and she lives right across from the street. So the school knew all of us. Like, they're like, how many kids live in there? Because everyone had the address, and it was all of
Brady
us, right?
Bunch.
Yeah. So one time, the mom, I guess the teacher told the mom that I lived across the street, and I kept the frame or whatever it was there for the longest. She brought it over to Milia's house.
Oh no.
And I remember running and hiding under the bed. I was like talking to my grandma about it, like, oh, es que Tomás se le hace bonita Mariana and all this stuff.
Oh no.
And I said no, and I said, grandma, like, abuelita, quédatelo. No, yo no me lo quiero llevar, mi papá se va a enojar. After that, I remember the boys were making fun of me for it. And I would get so mad.
I don't remember this at all. No.
Shout out to Tomás out there. So
yeah, hey Tomás.
Thomas, if you're watching this, she's married.
Yeah, she's married. Sorry, bro.
Sorry, bro. You had your chance. You ruined it.
The picture frame wasn't good enough.
Yeah, you were a little too aggressive with the frame.
Yeah. Yeah, you couldn't say what's up first or anything.
I know, like, you just straight into matrimony.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is that I remember, and I never forget this, all the boys were making fun of me, and they would make me cry.
Because of Tomás.
And
she's all traumada.
Yeah, like even las muchachas, like, oh, Maya. And I'm like,
but how sad is that? Like, it's a 5-year-old, you know, you're a 5-year-old little girl, and you know, someone has a crush on you. You did nothing. You did absolutely nothing, and yet you're the one feeling like crap because everyone's making fun of you, right?
Right.
Like, that's just so, it sucks because we all do it, right? And we have to try to be more aware of it. But like, I feel like that will also stop you from like not bringing a boy over, but like sharing your feelings with your dad, with your grandma, with your aunts, and saying, hey, there's this kid. And then how awesome would it be to have that conversation with your parents of like, hey, there is this kid I like I'm not looking to do anything stupid like that, but I want to be able to go to the movies with him or something like that, you know, something so innocent, because at that age you're not thinking about anything other than the innocence of, I like to be around this person.
Mm-hmm.
On another note, I'm still impressed con la alcahueta de la mamá that would take that to the house. Like, I mean, come on, how like you're instigating this romance between two 5-year-olds, and this is what I'm saying, like, you know, like,
we're barely to the point where we're trying to acknowledge it. She's over here promoting it, you know.
I know, she's over here promoting it. I'm like, wow, you know,
and maybe to her she thought it was just like, oh, you know, just a friend thing, or I don't know what she was thinking really.
She wasn't, I think, in my opinion.
Like,
I was gonna say, I remember my kindergarten boyfriend, his name was Victor. And he would bring me, shout out to Victor. He would bring me candy. Yeah, he would bring me
He'd
candy.
be like, Victor, I won.
Yeah, Daddy said.
I
There's a
remember-
Victor out there. All
I
the Victors
remember
for that
too.
matter.
I remember too. My kindergarten boyfriend. I
Yeah.
wonder if Arya had a kindergarten boyfriend.
I remember girls would have a crush on Danny and they would tell me because I was his cousin.
You see, and like,
But then I would get jealous.
Why would you get jealous? Because he's your cousin?
Yeah, you're like, if I don't pick you, you're not good enough.
so
Yeah.
let's talk about immaturity level or maturity level, because I either never knew about these crushes or I didn't care.
Oblivious.
I was oblivious. I cared more about hanging out and playing soccer with my guy friends or playing basketball or playing something like that. I was not, from the age of 14 down, I didn't care about females at all. Like, it was to the point where they would be like, oh, this person likes him. Like, yeah, I don't like you. Like, it's no big deal. Like, I would just move on. Like, that for me, if I had a girlfriend at that age, I think it'd be all bad because I wasn't mature enough to handle that.
It's because he hadn't met the one.
Right.
He
Hey,
hadn't met me.
so quick question. This is going into our other topic is, what was your family's reaction to when you did bring your first girlfriend or you introduced your first girlfriend? Because it was different for all of us.
I'm trying to remember, to be honest.
No names.
I was just
No
saying,
names.
please, no names. With me, I wasn't allowed to date until 18. So I was in college already because I started college at 17. And then I was like, Mom, my friend who just happens to have a girl name is gonna come and pick me up and we're gonna go to the movies and dinners. And they were like, and I was like, okay, Mom, well, he's here. Okay, bye. And she's like, nope, he needs to come inside. And I was like, nobody does that anymore. And they were like, no, he has to come inside. And so he came inside and introduced himself, and that was it. And everything was like fine.
No problem.
Yeah. But I was 18 because I wasn't allowed to date before 18.
What about you, Cesar?
No names, please.
No names.
I mean, this is not like Victor and Thomas.
Yeah.
Right. No names. Well, man, I'm trying to remember
Why are you red?
how old I was when I first introduced my girlfriend or girlfriend at the time. And it was, for them, I think it was like a sigh of relief because I was already pretty old. I was like in my 21. 21.
You didn't get a girlfriend until that
Maybe your
late.
mom was
21.
questioning.
No. How can I say this? Yeah, let's just keep it at that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my
okay.
girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah, that I introduced, a girl to my parents, and obviously, as you guys know, it was a different cultural, so there was a little bit of a culture shock there, and like I said, it was a sigh of relief of le gustan las mujeres, first of all. Second of all was like, oh, okay, so qué va a pasar aquí? Like, wait, what? It's
I'm
it's
21.
una novia. Yeah, but you're 21. Are you gonna get married? Like, well, no. I mean, No, it's just
Did you just catch that? It was like me saying like, oh, but you're only 21, and they're over here like, dude, you're 21. Like,
yeah, it was a different, for, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. Remember, we're coming from a Christian background where like it's like courting for so many years and then, or getting to know one and then courting and then straight to marriage, which I guess that's
not only that, but you're also, I think you're a generation before us, right? So yeah. So like, I think things started changing a lot faster during the millennial generation. As far as like us changing how our parents were and whatnot.
Yeah. And then of course, introduced to the whole family. Then that was a whole nother situation with grandma and all that.
What did grandma say or what?
Well, grandma was like, I can't say names, but she butchered the name bad. Like, what? Wait, what?
Grandma was
What
full
did
of jokes.
Grandma?
Grandma was full of jokes that day.
She would, yeah. Grandma was,
Mhm.
I mean, she was,
What did
and
she
she
say
knew.
though?
I can't say the name because
she
I
was
don't want
a
to.
she was a jokester, grandma was,
She was a jokester.
and she went off.
Oh yeah, and she used to love to have fun. Like, so she would like, oh, hula, oh, yo puedo bailar hula. She would get a hula hoop, you know,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
But
remember that. Yeah.
yeah, so it was one of those situations where to my parents it was a different reaction, to our family it was it was a different reaction. But nevertheless, they embraced whoever came through that door. But the carrilla and the fun and jokes were there. So
But there's a difference between you introducing them to the family and you just mentioning to the family that you have a girlfriend. Did you ever tell your family that you had a girlfriend before that situation? Like not her specifically, like just anyone else before that, before the age of 21.
yeah, because I was going to college there, and so everybody knew. Oh, va a ir con su novia. I'm like, but so yeah, they just didn't know her until the
Oh,
time
right.
came.
But
You hadn't
so
introduced
you
her.
hadn't
But he's
introduced
saying
her, yeah.
before her.
Like
Yeah.
even before her, like
Oh.
what I'm getting at is like when you were in your teenage years, like you were never like, hey, sit down with your mom and dad and be like, hey, I have a girlfriend, and like,
No.
you know,
No, just tiene muchas
or
amigas.
boyfriend. I don't know.
No, definitely not boyfriend. But no, no, yeah, it was just no, just the guys. No, nomás tengo amigas. But quote unquote amigas. So, anyways,
Maya.
that was it. What about Maya?
For me, I am gonna share one Juve because that one's a funny one.
Wait, that wasn't the first boyfriend though, was it? Or was it?
I just remember Juve.
You're like, it was just Thomas and Juve.
Yeah.
That's it.
It was just Thomas.
I mean, before Juve, it was, I think it was Enrique Iglesias, Omar Bravo.
Nice.
But
All right,
no,
Hube.
as far as Juve, this was like, so we're in the Bay Area, and they're like, I told I don't even remember how I told my parents that I had a boyfriend and it was Juve, but the day they were gonna meet him, Juve had just gotten back from Vegas. He's hungover, right? I pick him up, and my dad's like, okay, pues vamos a hacer carne asada. I'm like, okay, cool, right? We're eating. No, hombre, llega todos. Milia, Mari, everyone shows up. And so that was a little embarrassing, right? Just asking him questions, and very welcoming too. But it was like, oh my goodness, I would have been nervous if I was him, and I know he was. Before he was super quiet, so I know he felt a little intimidated by everyone coming in and what are you doing? How long have you guys been together? And why you like her? And things like that. So 21 questions. But that was his introduction, which I thought was, I don't know, nerve-wracking.
My bad.
Totally unpredictable.
It's very fitting though, because there's still that involved. Our whole family has always been like that, But
yeah,
I know. But yeah, I do remember my dad's like, okay, well, voy a hacer carne asada and all that stuff for him. I'm like, okay, cool. Little did we know he had invited everyone.
and how old were you?
This was in college. This was I was 21.
Oh, see.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys introduced people late.
So he
I know,
is
right?
the first one that I introduced to the family.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the one.
And
yeah, he was the one. Not Danny. Danny introduced like at 15. Then
he's
another
the
one
winner.
at 16.
Oh wow!
And then
Salen las garras,
18.
era.
No, I only introduced one other girlfriend. That's it. Not that's it.
Like
No,
that
it
is like
was,
how do I
Sotti's
cook? How do I
ready.
cook?
We're
I
not
see
saying
this,
names.
Sotti.
it was,
Yeah.
it was only
I know,
one other person that I introduced, and it was, I was freaking 15, 16 at the time. But what was interesting is my thoughts of what the family would like. There was a lot of thinking leading up to it, like, man, when should I do this? How should I do this? And I remember having the conversation with like any other conversation, it's very nerve wracking with your parents of like, hey, I'm gonna introduce. I have a girlfriend now, and not knowing how they're gonna react. And to my surprise, they reacted very calmly. It was more of like, hey, are you good with this? Like, make sure you're like protecting yourself. All the normal parent stuff. It wasn't like anger or anything like that, which was very shocking. As far as introductions to families, there's not much to say there. There wasn't a lot there, anyways. As far as it was just it was very. It wasn't a great introduction because she already kind of knew all the people that were in my family because a lot of them went to high school with me. So the other people, she didn't really get to hang out with them that much. But what was interesting is when I introduced Soti to the family, I still remember this. It was I'd say to the extended family because the first she met my parents and everything, but then I introduced you to my cousins and stuff like that. When was it? For Thanksgiving or for Christmas? I can't remember.
Well, no, for Christmas I met your parents and one of your cousins.
So,
I met Pepe for Christmas.
Yeah, but then right after that, we had another get together where I introduced her to the family. And I remember, she said hello to everyone and she got to talk to people and everyone was really nice and very welcoming like our family is. But I remember one of my cousins' husbands pulled me in. He's like, yeah, you make sure you keep this one. And he just told me that was for Christmas, right? Christmas. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, you make sure you keep this one. And
shout out to Sylvia and Danny.
Yeah. And
salió.
Yeah, but like I said, they were always very welcoming. I think in general.
And then his grandma grabbed my butt the first time that she met me.
Yeah.
We were posing for she hugged me and then she was like,
Grandma did that?
My
grandma. Oh yeah, I know. I was gonna say like, man, grandma was down.
Really grabbed me. I was like, oh, okay, abuelita.
Yeah, there was a lot of not only my grandma, but a lot of my aunts and stuff that were all infatuated with Soti's lower half. But yeah, there was a lot of that. But I think overall, everyone was very welcoming. Yeah, there was no big deal. I remember reading her family. She kept on asking, "Are you nervous? Are you nervous?" I wasn't really nervous. I was very excited to meet everyone and see because I met them all in Puerto Rico. The only person I was nervous to meet was her brother, because he was the first person that I met here in California. He was the first person of her family that I got to meet, and I think he told the story of when we met in our wedding. He said that the first thing that he noticed is that I got off of my chair and I said hello and I was very respectful to all of them, and and he's all like, yeah, that was something that he didn't really get to see a lot of from other people. So
nice.
How was it when you introduced Claudia?
It was normal, I guess. It was
normal.
Well, they already knew.
No, it wasn't. No, sorry. You know what? It wasn't.
Oh,
it was.
You're right.
It wasn't normal. It was a bad intro, I guess. Not really intro, but it was just a sad. It was in grandma's.
She was like 12.
You were like, oh yeah, novia tiene.
And I would have asked her like, hey, this is my novia. This is my novia. Like, esa es mi novia. Ay. Wow. No, when I introduced it was grandma's funeral, so yeah, grandma didn't meet her, so but that was
I do remember her singing.
Yeah, that was the first time, and but she was the one. She was the one, and we're stronger than ever. Yeah, yep, she is the one. So yeah. Anyways, so our last and final topic. Should we discuss this? Because very important, very, very serious.
Very important.
This is one of those TikTok things that came up, and someone posed a very, very important question that was very thought provoking, and I need to hear you guys' arguments. Do you think there is more doors in the world or wheels in the world?
Yeah. Go ahead, Maya.
Like tires?
Whatever.
Any
yeah,
wheel.
wheels like what? Like
any type of wheel.
Or
no, any type of wheel.
It has to be wheel or wheel shape.
Wheel, just in general. Like you sit down in a chair and you're sitting on like 5 wheels, right? Because they have wheels, right? You roll a door open and it has wheels on top if it's a barn door or something like that. Any type of wheel.
Yeah.
No gears. Gears are not wheels.
What do you mean?
I think
Oh, I
there's
guess
more.
not. Right, yeah, the
there's
gears.
more doors than wheels in the world. Like I take into consideration. Oh, I guess I didn't. I wasn't taking into consideration the wheels on the top of the doors and the rooms.
Some of them, yeah, but some of them don't have that. Some of them only have.
So
hinges.
this is my thought process at the beginning. Was we have 2 cars here, so that means we have 8 tires, but then we have 11 doors in our home.
You counted them?
I did count them.
Wow.
But you didn't consider.
So that was my thought process.
Did you count
was
your closet doors?
Yeah, cabinets.
I did not count
microwave.
Well, I mean, no.
Refrigerator doors.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, even more. We have.
Yeah, but you think about those doors, those same doors. Like, let's say the door in the bottom of we have a French door, right, with the bottom. When you open up that bottom drawer, what does it roll on? Wheels.
Wheels.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
right?
You're saying that there's more wheels.
I don't know.
Doors?
I'm just trying to, get some info out there.
Oh
I think there's more
Is
doors.
bearings considered a
Cars have
wheel?
doors.
Is what?
Bearings? Because the new cabinets now, they don't have wheels anymore. They have little bearings.
That
So
does
then
not count.
that makes me say there will be more doors and wheels.
I'm team wheels.
I think I'm team wheels too.
Because if the new cabinets don't have the wheels anymore, that
No, they
means
don't.
slowly the wheels will be replaced by things that don't
By
need
something
wheels.
else.
What about
Yeah.
suitcases? Every suitcase or most suitcases have a wheel. 4 wheels for that matter. Actually, 8 wheels. Some of them actually have 2 wheels per side.
The reason why I'm team wheels is because I carry at least 4 of those.
You're adding to the. You don't carry any doors.
I don't carry any doors. I carry no packs of doors, just layers of llantas. That's what I carry. So, team llantas. No, but okay, like for example, like to counter, okay, so you got the car. You said you got 2 cars. That's 8 wheels.
But then there's
the
cars have
doors.
Then
There's 4 doors
that's
plus the one in the back.
10
Plus-
wheels. 10 doors. Sorry.
The gas. You open that up. What is that? That's the door.
Yeah,
That's a
so you're talking
door.
about, like
The
6
trunk.
compared to.
The trunk. The glove compartment.
I say doors,
center
more
console.
doors.
Yeah, I say more doors.
I don't know because I'm still going back to like there's other things
No,
that you don't think like just looking around my house right now. Tenemos una andadera or like a walker for the baby that has at least 4, and if there are doubles down there, that's 8.
Yeah, but how about the wine? The wine thing has 2 doors already.
Yeah, but then we have three luggage cases, which each have 4 times 2 is 8.
But then you said the kitchen. We have all the cabinets.
Then
that
we have chairs that all have. Each one of them has at least 5 times 2 because they're doubles. That's 10.
Yeah,
that's 20.
I'm still team wheel.
Then we have this
Team wheel or team door?
I'm sorry, team door.
I was gonna say like, wait,
Team
what?
No, team door.
I'm team wheel.
Man, I don't know.
Doors for me.
I've been going back and forth to be honest with you, but I don't know.
I say that we ask the audience to comment, and we tell them, hey, what is it, team wheels or team doors? Let us know so that
And
we
then
can
in Spanish, so we can get some comments in Spanish. Piensan que en el mundo hay más puertas que ya. I don't say llantas. We call it
Ruedas.
ruedas. Yeah.
Same, yeah, ruedas,
llantas.
llantas,
Not llantas, because llantas means a tire.
Tire. Well, ruedas.
ruedas.
Right?
Pero
And the ones of the
acuérdense-
body should count.
Sí, acuérdense que una puerta puede ser la puerta del closet, del refrigerador, del microondas, pero también las ruedas pueden ser las rueditas chiquitas que están en los cajones,
O
en
en las
las
sillas.
puertas, el closet. Así es que
La pregunta es, ¿hay más puertas que ruedas en el mundo o más ruedas que puertas en el mundo?
Como el microwave tiene una puerta, pero adentro tiene que.
Una rueda.
Rondas.
3 tiene.
Okay.
Y si eres como Juve, la puerta de atrás cuenta.
Oh, esa no cuenta.
Esa no
Ah,
cuenta.
eso no cuenta.
Porque Juve no.
Juve no la usa.
Porque Juve no, esa puerta está cerrada.
La puerta tiene que abrir y cerrar. Esa no abre.
Juve todavía no tiene acceso a esta puerta.
Ese Juve. Pobre Juve, ya dale acceso.
No. Está durmiendo la niña.
All right, mi gente, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Leave a comment, see what you guys think about raising kids, your first experience introducing your significant other. Let us know. Share.
Who's the
comment.
favorite in your family?
Who's the favorite in your family? That's right. So thank you guys very much. Until the next one, we'll see you. Take care.
Pretty soon.
All right. Bye.